Hello and welcome to our Kingdom Conversation as we continue to talk about being a witness in our community. And for this one, we're going to shift gears a little bit, still thinking about being a witness, but we're going to think about our community kitchen. Maybe you know this, maybe not, but St. Luke has a community kitchen every Saturday out of our Christ campus. And to help us think about this and learn a little bit more, we have Pam Updegraft joining us, and we'll hear more about what Pam does with the community kitchen, but welcome, Pam. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And we've also got Catherine Prout, and Catherine's been joining us for all these conversations, but Catherine serving as a staff member at St. Luke and helping with a whole lot of different ministries among the many different hats that she wears. So Catherine, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
And the reason for this conversation, as we've been talking about, this fall, but really this year, we're talking about and go. We're thinking about being gospel witnesses in Jerusalem, the closest places to us, the closest relationships, Judea, that kind of next ring, that city, that community, the zip code that we live in, that sort of thing, the region, and then also Samaria and the ends of the earth, crossing boundaries and going even further than that. And along with this, we have a goal as a congregation, 2022 gospel witnesses. We want to go that many different times collectively, each of us going a few times, but the composite of that being a lot, being a big impact. And I think I've mentioned this throughout, but we have a list of ways you can go be a gospel witness. Number 4 on that list is be part of the community kitchen, the Coat Bank, or some other St. Luke ministry that you've never been part of. So this is a way that you can go and help us in our congregational goal. So anyway, one of our longest running, most impactful ministries here at St. Luke is the community kitchen. Catherine, tell us a little bit about the history of the community kitchen. How did it come to be, and what's been some big moments in that history?
Actually, the idea came from a young mother who was a member of what we were Christ Lutheran Church at the time. And I think she saw a need of children in the neighborhood that seemed to always come to the church and ask for food, ask for snacks. Sometimes we would have families come to the church. And when she was here at the church during the week, she had a little bit of interaction with some of those families. And it really was her idea to start we called it the soup kitchen at the time. And it started on a Saturday with, I think, 6 people. And they made brown bag lunches and passed them out to people. But I think that they saw the need for an interaction with people, not only just giving them food. And as things evolved, we got more and more involved with people within the community, leaders within the community, other congregations in the community, and one thing after another. And we ended up serving, most recently before the pandemic, 125, 130, 140 people every Saturday. And I think one reason why we kind of have morphed into the name Community Kitchen is because we are supported and surrounded by the community. We serve the community, but other members of the community also support the Community Kitchen. And that's really how the name comes out, Community Kitchen. So it was a brainchild of a young mom back in the 80s, and this is what it's turned into now.
Yeah, that's just such a neat story. The long history of that, 30 years of really continuous operation. I always love in that story. What a humble beginning. 6
very much.
brown paper bags, and I can imagine the folks that day probably thinking to themselves, I don't know, how is this going to do anything? 6 brown bags, that's not a big deal. But neat to see the faithfulness of God's people and God's faithfulness to his people and sustaining that ministry, sustaining the volunteers and really growing it, like you said, sometimes 100 people. And what a cool thing, that community side of it. Now, Pam, you're an integral part of this community kitchen, an integral part of the history of it. Tell us about what do you do at the community kitchen? What's your role there?
Well, I am called the kitchen manager. Basically, I've been involved with it since my daughter was in high school. I started out as a parent volunteer and slowly became more involved. And now it's a passion. And I found out that I'm good at it. I do as little work as possible. I feel my job is to direct the volunteers and they do the work. So I enjoy it, and it gives me it fills me. It gives me a really good fuzzy feeling.
Yeah, and what's neat, you've always mentioned that, and Catherine talked about this a little bit, that the meal is really kind of secondary, I think, to the community. We call it community kitchen, or it's a community meal, but really that's the life together, the interactions together, the friendships, people knowing one another's names. That seems to be one of the most powerful parts of this community kitchen. Is that right?
Yes, a lot of the people that come to the community kitchen, it's a social event for them. They always sit in the same place. They sit with their friends, and some people you have to push them out because they're just sitting there enjoying their conversations and talking to people that they probably just get to see once a week.
Yeah. So it is really neat just to be there and to see that. And like you said, that it's kind of like Cheers, right? Everyone knows your name. And the volunteers know many of the names of the people who come. The people that are there, they know the names of the volunteers. They know the names of one another. Like you said, they have kind of communities and clusters of friendships. And yeah, I mean, certainly if the meal wasn't there, that would take away a big part of it. But really, it's the life together that seems to be really powerful. Now, people that are part of this conversation, they may have no idea. They might just know, okay, there's a community kitchen, and that's about all I know. Tell us a little bit about how does it work? Sort of where does the food come from? How does the food come to us, and then how does it turn into a meal? There's a big step involved in that. How do people hear about the community kitchen to come be part of it? Who's eligible to come to this? Just some of those kinds of questions.
Well, I think we have such a reputation within the community. One thing that I will say is that we're known as the Chocolate Milk Church. And everybody, I didn't know that until you told me that someone said that to you within the community, because we do serve chocolate milk. We have white milk, of course, but we have chocolate milk. So at the moment, I think our biggest asset is our reputation. We're known within the community for what we serve. As far as how do you get the word out, all the agencies within the city know about our community kitchen. The churches know, the people that we serve know, and they share that with other people that they run into, whether they're on the street or there's someone that they just know that's down and needs to have a meal. As far as where our food comes from, we have a partnership. We haven't used it recently, but we have a good partnership with the City Rescue Mission. If we have a need, they'll help us and give us what they have. They receive a lot of donations and they share that with us. But basically, we have been gifted through financial donations from other congregations, from individuals. We do have a church budget, but really the community supports the community kitchen, whether it's through financial, sometimes it's donations, sometimes it's leftover food from an organization that had an event. We really try to recycle as much stuff as what we can to get it out there to the people that need it. And we have more than enough to be able to provide, but we want to serve more people.
So the food comes to us, like you said, from church budget, from community. Sometimes it's financial, sometimes it's a gift of the food itself, that kind of thing. And then how does it turn into a meal?
Yeah, basically what happens is we plan a menu, and everybody gets the same meal, and we prepare the food, we set up the tables, the diners come in, everything is served to them as if they were in a restaurant. The only thing that they get themselves is their coffee, but plates are filled and delivered to the diners. Food is pushed around on carts. The drinks are pushed around on carts, and everybody is served as if they were in a restaurant situation. The diners that come here are extremely grateful for what we do. And I think that if you're going to put like a percentage on it, we probably serve about 60% men. There's more men that actually come than women. I don't know if that means anything.
Yeah, interesting.
Just an observation.
Yeah, and as far as who's coming, you're talking about that statistic. It's also kind of a wide mix, right? It's people that are stretching their budget out, people that have housing, but maybe it's kind of tenuous or up in the air a little bit, and then those who may be entirely homeless. Is that kind of right? That whole spectrum?
Yeah, that is correct. We have people, like I said, that, they enjoy coming to the meal because they see their friends. We do have, I don't think we have a whole lot of homeless people, but I do know since we've been doing the carry out meals, there's been a few people that have come that said, no, I can't take that because I'm homeless. Because we were giving away big bags of food.
Got it.
And they just didn't have any place to store it.
Okay.
But I think the majority is very small.
Okay. Interesting. Well, I think this would be really helpful for people who kind of have no knowledge of the community kitchen, and a good kind of dip a toe in learning more about it. So thanks for being part of this. And when we continue again, we'll learn a little bit more about what does it mean to help? How does that work? What are you signing up for when you come to serve at the community kitchen? So thank you, Pam and Catherine. And thanks to everyone who was part of this Kingdom conversation.